Alex Sawyer.
Hey, Joe, y'all's defense has gotten 3 takeaways back-to-back weeks. And I think when you look at the season as a whole, the offense has been able to get points on the board after 6 of the 8 takeaways the defense has gotten. How much pride do you guys take as an offense in being able to go down and get points when the defense does step up and get the ball back?
Yeah, I think a point Coach Dorn really emphasizes is something called complementary football. And you hear that a lot. So we kind of playing off of each other. So, like, when you get those big momentum plays where defense get a pick, get a return, get a fumble recovery, even like, block punts or big turnover momentum swing plays, you always want to carry the momentum onto the field. When you get on the field with the offense, you want to get points out of that because it turns from a situation to where it might be just, change in field position where they have to drop back and punt to where you get a quick 7 points on the board and really changing the shift in the game.
Daniel Wilson.
The team as a whole has gotten contributions from seemingly everyone on the team, regardless of experience level. How important has that been to establishing the identity of the team, and and how much has what y'all learned in camp helped with that?
Are you referring to like contributions of like younger guys playing and stuff, like contributing to like on the field stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think we were talking about before we even really knew we were going to get into until before like the season was still, that point in time where the season was still up in the air and everyone was so fuzzy on details on what was going to happen. We were told, Coach Dorn made a point, an emphasis is like this is the first time he said everyone on this team from first string to back into third string, fourth string scout team guys, you have a legitimate chance to play this year because 1 week we're going in, we have everyone in COVID, positive COVID tests and contact tracing takes out, 5, 6 guys. And, we're left with people having to step up and play. I think when that preparation has come, when we get in situations where some of our starters, get out of the game for whatever reason happens, and the second string guys step up and play and have great seasons. I think Isaac Duffy stepped up this past week. He was a backup guy, and then we lost a starter, and then he stepped up, and I thought he had a really good game. And called him out, or coach called him out during team meeting on Sunday. So I think it's really great. I think age doesn't really matter. It's all about skill level. You can be a freshman and still have great football IQ and get out there and attack the game every play. So I'm really proud of seeing young guys step up and get in positions, and I'm really proud that you don't see that drop off when a backup guy gets in or anything like that. I think that showcases a really solid team through and through, and just showcases our development and our dedication during this off season and fall camp, getting work in and being prepared for any situation.
Thank you.
Brett.
Joe, how has the team rallied around Bailey Hockman this week, and how much more confidence do you have in him now because of the way he performed in the Wake Forest game?
I think it might have been. I think you might have asked a question like during the first week. It might have been someone else talking about the quarterback competition, and my answer still remains the same. Whoever's back there throwing the ball, handing the ball off, calling the offense, I have full faith in them to trust us. It could be, we can put Grant Gibson back there, our center. He could put it there in quarterback, and I'd have all faith in him to handle the job because I know the coaches trust him back there. I think our team as a whole is rallying around Bailey because we know he's going to step up, he's going to play, he's going to have a great game. He has a lot of confidence in him. He has a lot of confidence in himself. He's ready to show the world that he's a legitimate college quarterback, and he's going to have a great game. So with that, we just have much faith in him as we did Devin. So I'm looking forward to him having a great game on Saturday.
Thanks a lot. And by the way, I think Aleem McNeil might make a better quarterback than Grant, though.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Jonas.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for joining us and speaking to us today. I wanted to ask you about Peyton Wilson. He's coming off a great game. Obviously, we all see the kind of intensity that he plays with. Does he bring that intensity level to practice, and how much does that rise the intensity level of everyone else on the practice field? And what's it like practicing against a guy like that who's at that level all the time?
I think we put a big premium this year on having really tough practices. You know, we're fifth week of the season, fourth week, yeah, whatever week we're in, blends together. And we're just hitting just as hard as we were during the first day of fall camp, getting shoulder pads on. But to answer your question about Peyton, it's what we do. It doesn't just happen on game day. You know, he puts the work in throughout the week and it shows up on game day. And anyone that has a really good game, it's no surprise because that week in practice, you watch practice tape, you watch the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice, even Friday walkthrough. They're locked in, they're detailed to what's going on in the game plan. They're firing off on full cylinders. They're not slow, they're speed off the ball, and they're finishing every rep like if it was a game rep. And you really, when you're time to shine, you get out there. He had 2 interceptions. He had a bunch of tackles. He really did have a great game, and he did get a lot of recognition from it. Even too, our left tackle, Icky, Kim, he's same way. You know, he had a great game. I thought he had like 8 or 9 like pancake blocks this past week, and you go back and you look at practice film, it was the same way. It wasn't just like he was just walking through the motions. He was putting that work in throughout the week and to get him where he was on the thing. So, but honestly, you can see that across the board in our practice team. Coach Dorn puts a premium on practice, and whenever we practice hard, we win games. And so far, we've been practicing really, really hard throughout the week. So that's our game plan really going into this week, just keeping that intensity up in practice.
Peyton, is his intensity level like on a 10 at all times? As soon as he puts that helmet on?
Yeah, the kid's a freak. You know, he definitely plays with a sense of urgency that closely resembles to what he's doing on Saturday. You know, there's not like he has one speed and that is go. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, to answer your question about Peyton, that is exactly how he practices.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Mickens.
Yeah, this is rivalry week, so this team North Carolina really got you all at Carter Finley last year. What's your thoughts on that going into this week, and what do you see when you look at them on when you look at North Carolina on film this week?
Well, my thoughts on North Carolina, same thoughts as it was against Pittsburgh, against Duke, against Wake Forest, against Virginia, against Virginia Tech. It's the same. Just because it's a rivalry week, we don't approach them any differently. We don't take their record. We approached Duke, even though they didn't have the best record. We approached them like we were playing number 1 team in college football. You know, it doesn't matter who we're playing against. It doesn't change against who we play against on Saturdays. What really happens is we focus on ourselves. We focus our dedication to practice. We lock in for the 22 periods we're out on practice throughout the week, and we really get after it. It really doesn't change who we're playing. I know like rivalry, we get around and and I get it, like media guys really like hyping it up, and it's a great game. It's a game's been playing since like, I don't know, early 1900s, but even before that. It's a game that's been going around forever, so I'm not going to belittle that by any means, but our preparation is the same regardless of who we're playing. So we're looking at them just the way we look at everyone else on our roster, and we're looking at them and respect them as players. They're college football players just like us. They're doing I guarantee you they're doing the same thing about us. They're respecting us just as much as we're respecting them. And then whoever has the most preparation, the best practice throughout that week is going to showcase, going to win on Saturday. So that's really hopefully answered your question best as possible.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
James Henderson.
Hey, Joe, Dylan's in the lineup now at guard opposite you. What does he provide now that he's in the lineup?
What do you mean by just because he's –
just assess him as a player. We haven't had a chance to see a lot of McMahon. I mean, just talk about him as a player at guard for you.
I think Dylan's a great player. I think he was a starter before the season. He played like it, but unfortunately you can only have 5 offensive linemen start at one time. I thought Dylan had a great game last week, just as well. I thought he played really, really well. I thought he played just like if he's been playing for the past 2 or 3 years. He's really detailed. He's really detailed in his preparation too. You see him up here watching film, getting new looks. He's learning every position from left guard, center, right guard, getting every detail in the notes, every detail on the play, making sure he knows what to do, because when his number is called, and it was called this past weekend, he's going to go out and he's going to ball. And I think his preparation and how he approaches going to the game really showcased this past Saturday when he came in I thought he played very well. I don't think he played timid at all. I think he fired off the ball with a lot of speed. He played with a lot of confidence. I don't think for a moment he didn't really know what he was doing. Like he didn't not know what he was doing, if that makes sense. He was very detailed with with his movements. He didn't have any MAs when he graded out. I really did thought he played extremely well. And just assessing him as a player, I think that's pretty much answers your question. Hopefully you guys will be you're going to be seeing him a lot more throughout the season, I know for sure. And in the coming weeks, I'm sure you guys are going to want to talk to him as well, because I think he's a phenomenal player and he's just an awesome dude. He's a great friend of mine. So I'm looking forward to him balling out again this week.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Rob McClam.
Yeah, when you guys have a running back that gets 100 yards, breaks a good play through a hole, gets a touchdown, just describe that type of pride that conjures up with you.
I think I was asked a similar question to that earlier, but it's a weird thing playing in the offensive line. It's a different perspective of the game. Looking back, you're sitting back and you're watching from on TV, you're seeing the whole play develop, but in the offensive line, my face is buried in a 300-pound defensive tackle, so I don't really get to see what happens that much during the play. So whenever I do look up and I see our running back sprinting down the field for 30, 40, 50 yards, it's a really great feeling. It's just like after getting for a pass protection and you hear a loud crowd pop, and you look up and you see your receiver 80 yards down the field with the ball in his hand running into the end zone. It's a great feeling seeing your teammates score. It's just a shame whenever that does happen, I have to sprint 80 yards down the field to go get lined up for field goal, because sprinting that far is not the funnest, but I'll do it for a touchdown any day of the week. So it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling of honor, and I take a lot of pride in seeing my teammates, my brothers, score touchdowns.
Last one, Mark Armstrong.
Excuse me. Joe, you had one of the penalties last Saturday. A, did you get your money's worth on that shove? And then B, what is the line between playing tough, playing physical, and keeping your composure and not getting those kinds of flags?
That penalty, I'm probably more ashamed about that penalty than anything else in the game, because looking back, that costs my team kicking from the 45 back on the 25, giving Duke's offense great field position. They almost went down and scored touchdowns. Luckily, our defense had a great time, and they were being able to hold them to 3. But I don't take a pride in getting penalties after the whistle. It just shows a lack of discipline on my part, and it shows immaturity. And honestly, I don't want any of my teammates to follow me in that example. It's not something you want to see. Sometimes, football is an emotional game. You're playing for 60 minutes, hitting each other. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, because you see it happen all levels, but it's just, you don't want it to happen, and you want to control that as much as possible. It's something I really don't want to have on film, is me giving personal fouls after the film. In between the whistles, you might get the stray hold here or there, or might get antsy before a play. You want to stay disciplined, but every time outside of the whistles, you want to stay disciplined. You want to keep your composure, and you don't want to give the other team any advantage in field position just because you don't know how to control your emotions. So yeah, I was very ashamed of that penalty, and I was really glad that our defense was able to make up for my mistake on the field and keep them at bay with only 3 points, because looking back, 7 points, them going into halftime, that's a big momentum change, as opposed to them just getting 3. So it's the details like that where you make small mistakes and it comes back to bite you. Hopefully that answers your question. I'm not proud of personal fouls, and no one on the team takes them lightly, but I do know what you're asking, and I don't take offense to that, but I do feel slightly ashamed just from putting myself before the team and putting them in a bad position. But like I said, thankfully they were able to keep them at bay and they were able to play out.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Great question, Mark.